Chris and Cash program, first of the year, January 2nd, 2016. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing? First in quite a long time.
Yeah, I think October 24th. I was looking it up the other day as our last one. Technical difficulties with the computer. We tried to iron them out. We'll see if they do.
Knock on plastic.
Knock on plastic. So we're going to get into Pats Dolphins game tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. For the Patriots, it's very simple. Win and you get the 1 seed. Lose and you're probably looking at the 2 seed because I don't think Denver's going to lose to San Diego at home. I think they threw up the white flag a month ago. We're also going to get in.
San Diego threw up the white flag a month ago. The Dolphins threw up the white flag at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, probably. We're also going to get it. We'll get into that and just the absolute train wreck that the Dolphins are right now. Brent Grimes, anybody? No, his wife's name is Miko or something like that. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk a little NFL MVP. First time in a while, Chris. A lot of candidates. I think your top 3 are Brady, Newton, and Palmer in any order. Did Palmer just leapfrog Brady the way Arizona's playing? We'll get into that. I'm just so freaking pissed off about the Celtics, man.
They are who they thought we were.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis Quaid.
Well, we were. We let them off the hook.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we knew that they were gonna be like a little the little engine that could crap is. I'm sick of it. Okay, they just lost to the Lakers and Nets back to back at home. Right, they got their asses kicked.
Maybe they'll lose to the Nets again too.
They probably will. They're playing them on Monday.
I want to note the one shining spot is Kelly Olynyk is 1,000 million infinitely times better than I thought he was.
He sucks.
And that's not saying much because he was, to me,
so bad.
A poor man's Scalabrine. But now he's like almost equivalent to Scalabrine.
Scalabrine was a better player. At least Scal was Italian and he didn't look like a girl. All right,
that's debatable.
Well, no, he just looked like a total Mick. He looked like the fourth friend from Good Will Hunting.
Looked like he was Tommy's kid.
No, you had you had Ben and
Brian Heinsohn.
No, you had Matt Damon, you had Ben and Casey Affleck, and then you had Scalabrine. He was in that movie. We're also going to talk about the Bruins' abysmal, just absolutely. Charles Barkley's a terrible performance in the Winter Classic yesterday in Montreal.
Are the Bruins
against
the
Montreal.
most streaky team? I mean,
I didn't expect him to win Sunday because if this was. No, there's one team that has Rask's number.
I mean, the whole East seems super wide open.
Yeah, but Rask can't beat Montreal. Especially in Boston, and I get it. Technically, this game wasn't in Boston. But, all right, so this is just a brief outline where we're going to get into. We'll start with the Dolphins on Sunday, which is tomorrow. Preliminary thoughts for me. I mean, even with all the injuries, because you got to remember... Edelman isn't going to play.
Edelman's, he didn't make the trip, so he's definitely out.
Hightower's out. Chandler Jones is out. I'm okay with that, too.
Chris O'Keefe is out.
Chris O'Keefe was born out. Just so you know, Chris O'Keefe brushes his teeth in the morning. He, breaks his wrist. He's like,
I tore my quad.
Having said that, he's still, less injury-prone than, half of these Patriots. But who else is... out? I don't even know. Amendola made the trip, and he's probably going to play. Gronk's probably going to play.
I don't even know. I mean, listen, I fully expect the Patriots to beat the Dolphins, 100%. Something like maybe 30-14, something in that ballpark.
See, I don't even think they're going to score that much.
I don't. The thing is, I don't think they're going to have a hard time scoring on the Dolphins at all.
Yeah, but their pass defense is horrendous. But really, who does Brady have to pass to right now?
Doesn't matter. It's the Dolphins. They mailed it in. I don't even know if they're going to show up. They should just do a good old 1-0, forfeit, not even show up.
See, if this was in Foxborough, I'd agree with you. It'd be cold, snowing, it'd be cold. They'd say F this and just get the buses ready. Dan Campbell's probably not going to be back as head coach, agreed. I'd be very, very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I like him better than Philbin. I mean...
Well, Christ's sake, I would like Wanstead better than Philbin.
I guess I like just
they just fired their GM actually today.
Well, and on that note, Chip Kelly getting fired.
Yeah, we'll talk about Chip.
Chip Kelly. That's
Steve Spurrier 2.0.
What an odd thing though. You give him all these powers, and then he has 2 good years as a coach, correct?
10-6, yeah.
Two good
playoff
years
teams.
as a coach. I'm not just gonna say he's Bill Belichick. I never thought he was as good as everyone thought he was. I mean, he had some cool little plays and some innovative things. But let's be honest, the Patriots took his offense and brought it to the NFL in 2011. So it wasn't like a little different.
It was a glorified West Coast offense, only he didn't have a quarterback.
Well, he traded for a guy that didn't fit in his system anyway. So
I actually thought
he.
You know what though? Foles had a terrible year.
Yeah,
in St. Louis.
I get that, but he traded for Sam Bradford, who doesn't fit his system. He got rid of Shady McCoy, who fits his system perfectly, and traded for DeMarco Murray, who doesn't fit his system. It's like Peyton in the Kubiak system. It doesn't work. Like you don't.
Right.
Next, what are we gonna make? Brady run a wildcat? Like no.
Yeah, that's great.
That.
That's great. Take the best quarterback in football off the field in third down. Great job.
That's what I mean. Like you wouldn't do that.
Exactly.
That's kind of like how I feel about Chip Kelly. But I mean, he has 2 good years as a coach. You give him GMing powers, okay. Let him do what he wants. He makes a bunch of what I would think were poor decisions to start before anything happened. And
no one's giving him a mulligan on those either.
Well, I'm not giving him a mulligan at all. But what I'm saying is, you're gonna get rid of him during the first season after you gave him the ability to build a team.
Well, not only that, you fire him with the game to go. You can't even let him finish the year out.
Well, that's supposedly because he wouldn't give back to GM.
He wouldn't relinquish, right?
But I don't think you can let someone be GM for a year after 2 good years as a coach, and then after 1 unsuccessful year, just get rid of him.
I don't know, man. Those are pretty head-scratching moves.
Look around the league, though. I mean, who's better?
The thing is, like...
The thing people always forget is, like, oh, let's fire Claude Julien. And get who's going to be better.
I never said that.
Not saying you, but when you were for the Doc Rivers, let's fire Doc Rivers. Like, if you have a B...
Because there were plenty of coaches better than Doc Rivers.
You have a B to a B-plus level coach? No, there wasn't. Mm-hmm. You have a B to B-plus level coach, you don't just suddenly grab a coach that's better than him off the street. That's not how it works.
Right.
It's not how any of this works. Okay, you can't just go around grabbing coaches and firing coaches whenever you feel like. So, if I had Chip Kelly, who are you going to get? I mean, what, Chuck Pagano? I mean, who's out there that's better? I mean, Campbell? Who are they going to get in Philly?
Dude, there are a lot of good Italian restaurants.
Oh, there are a lot of good
in
Italian.
Philly. For Pagano.
For Pagano.
Yeah, he can go to Adrian's. Rocky Balboa is still with us. He's doing well after chemo.
But I mean,
I love you, Sly. Seriously.
Who is? I'm not saying Chip deserves to have his job, or if I was a Philly fan, I'd be pleased because I wouldn't. And I don't even really care about Chip Kelly, but who's better? We always go back to this. People want to replace everybody. Who's better?
One thing, and you alluded to it, I think a part of it was they were reluctant to let him continue on as GM because he keeps changing his direction. And what I mean by that, you got Shady McCoy, who's kind of like a shifty, like,
perfect back for a system, in my opinion.
You can run the stretch play with him, super quick. You can catch the ball out of the backfield. DeMarco Murray is strictly a north-south runner. And you got to have a great offensive line for him to be.
Murray is 3 yards in a cloud of dust. He just had a great line.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's not going to work. Like in Dallas, they had a beast offensive line. Philly doesn't have a very good offensive line, let's be honest. That's why he's struggling. The Sam Bradford thing, I mean, this isn't the Sam Bradford that was at Oklahoma 5 years ago. That's not the guy you traded for.
Wasn't it even longer than that? I feel like he's been in the league for 10 years and he's played like half a season.
What year was he drafted? Like 09?
We can look that up.
Yeah, look that up.
Sam Bradford.
I know St. Louis took him first overall.
I want to say it was like 2000.
It was either like 8 or 9. I can't remember.
Quite a bit ago. I mean, he's the 28th ranked quarterback in the league. I mean, the funny thing is you have a quarterback rating at 80.
Still better than
looks
Peyton.
Good like all time. Oh, yeah, I know. Peyton's like the 50th ranked quarterback. Legitimately, he's so far down. But it's very weird in the NFL nowadays. You have an 80 as a quarterback rating, and an 80 you would think used to always be incredible. I mean, Dan Marino was career in the 80s, and he was awesome. But an 80 now is like you're one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
First overall, 2010. So it's, yeah,
10, wow,
so 5 years.
It was 08.
So 5 years, yeah. That is like a creepy picture of him. You guys get a chance, go on his Wikipedia page. He looks like he's like mind effing you. Look at that.
He's Native American though, full 1/16 or whatever it is. Absolutely absurd.
Oh, good. Now he's gonna put like a Tecumseh Indian curse on us for saying that.
Yeah. Well, I'm 1/64th Native American, so.
I wouldn't brag about that.
It's not anything.
No, I'm just
1/16th. I'm like, ooh.
I'm just playing. Oh, by the way,
I'm very offended by Redskins.
All you butthurt Native Americans fans, Redskins won the division. That's awesome. I'm loving that.
They're actually not that bad.
They're not that good, but they're not that bad.
Right. But for the current NFL,
No,
I mean they're like a Houston
no,
level team,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Hey, Kirk Cousins has had a good season.
He's
Good. He's better than RG3.
all right. Before we jump into the MVP talk, for a
You
second,
like that?
let's go back. RG knee is hey, feel bad for the guy. Let's go back to the game this
I
week.
don't. He's a millionaire.
I mean, I think the Pats are gonna roll. I really do. I think they're gonna pick up the 1 seed. I don't even care if they lose and get the 2 seed. I didn't care if they lost last week. I was more interested in the Carolina game.
I'll be honest with you. It might not be the worst. I mean, obviously, you want home field. There's no question. But if they lose, it's not the end of the world because all you really wanted out of this, health and the bye week, and they got that.
They got both.
They got
That's
it.
all you need.
Edelman,
You get health, you get a bye
Edelman
week.
hopefully is on the mend. But the other thing to consider, Cincinnati, if there's a team that's as beat up as the Patriots, I'd say it's Cincinnati. Andy Dalton and AJ McCarron got hurt on Monday night. They're pretty much locked into the 3 because I don't think Denver's losing to San Diego tomorrow. So your 6 seed is either going to be the Jets or Pittsburgh. Now, I would expect either the Jets or Pittsburgh to go into Cincinnati and beat them. So
I don't know though.
if
I mean,
you think
Cincinnati
about
still
it,
is a really stacked team. I know that's gonna.
If you
possibly
think about it,
third-string quarterback. But
you could luck out and get Houston at home in the divisional round, and Denver would get either the Jets or Pittsburgh. And
you're
could
assuming Houston wins.
Well, I'm saying if you luck, I would probably expect Kansas City to win that game. So
I would, yeah, and I actually think Kansas City might be the best team
I think Kansas City's.
going into the playoffs. I mean, they peaked probably a month too early. Peaked about a month ago, and it's Alex Smith. I mean, I'm not scared of Alex Smith. I mean,
You know what the funny thing is? Once Charles went down for the year and they started throwing, they took off. Which
Alex
It was
Smith is like Chad Pennington with like 3 extra yards on his throw. You ever think of that?
Alex Smith isn't a bum, but he's not.
Yeah,
he's
he's
middle
like Chad
of the pack.
Pennington with like
Yeah.
three extra yards to his
I
arm
might take Chad Pennington, honestly.
That's close. It's really close.
Again, Chad Pennington's our dividing line.
Yeah, dividing line. He's the Mason Dixon, ladies and gentlemen.
He's a good quarterback. He had a good career.
But I completely expect what I really want to see, and I know you don't care. I want to see Brady go out there, throw 3 touchdowns. I want to see him put up 350 yards. Maybe he doesn't break 5,000. He'll be close.
Homer alert! Homer alert! Be careful.
I just want Brady to win the passing yardage and the touchdowns for the season because that matters over time. He has 3 times leading the league in touchdowns already and twice in yardage. Add those extras in there. I mean, he's already the GOAT.
I couldn't care if he has the worst game of his career tomorrow and throws 6 picks as long as we win the Super Bowl. I couldn't care less.
I care. It matters. I want him to have a career rating that's higher. I want Tom Brady to be the best at everything.
He might already be.
Everything.
Well, he's never going to be the best on
Best
the ground.
running quarterback.
I
Best receiving
I'll
quarterback.
be able to tell my kids and my grandkids, if I ever had them, that I saw Tom Brady lead the Patriots in rushing that Jet game this year.
And I saw him make that awesome catch
What game was that?
2 games ago. The
What?
one where he was pretending like he was like
What, the
confused.
Philly game?
No, was it Philly?
Yeah, it was Philly.
Yeah, it was Philly. Oh wow.
Yeah, you weren't at that game.
No. I'm talking about that. I'm just
Oh,
saying
I was
that I saw it.
I was like actually at that game in person. That's what I meant at the Jet
Oh.
game. Regardless. So yeah, I one thing I'll say is I think the line is way too big. I think the last I looked, Pats are favored by 9.5. Because you're talking about
Dude,
a
but
team.
the Pats are playing for something the Giants aren't.
The Dolphins.
I mean, that's what I meant. The Dolphins aren't playing for anything.
I know you're excited that Eli is not going to the
Anything
playoffs
at all.
for 4 years in a row, but
I was looking at career playoff wins the other day.
Yeah.
It's like Brady and then Montana
and everyone else.
and everyone else, but it's like the next 3 highest guys that are currently active are Peyton,
Who has he's like what 11 and
11,
12.
Roethlisberger,
Ben has like 8 or 9, right?
Ben has 10,
10.
and Flacco has 10. And then Eli has 8, I believe.
I don't even know.
That's insane. Like if Brady goes off and wins 3 games, you have to like take like the next 3 guys together and like subtract a few wins. And that's
Rogers has what, like 5 wins or so?
Brady. Rodgers is 6-5 in the playoffs, I believe, career.
6 and 5.
And I think that's the exact same record Drew Brees is in the playoffs. So I mean, it's really daunting when you realize that these guys are all time
And those
great quarterbacks.
and those are the big four,
Right,
Oh,
of the generation.
I would say the big five of the generation. I know Eli has 2 championships, but if
Eli's not a fuck. Eli's a bum.
the big five of the last 15 years, you got Brady, you have Peyton Manning, not Eli, even though Eli's way better in big games. So you got Brady, you got Peyton, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Ben, and that's your top 5 for the last 15 years.
I wouldn't even put Ben close to those guys career-wise.
I would.
No.
Been to 3, won 2 of them. I would.
I get that, but look at the rest of his career.
But it's not like just like, oh, he went to 3 and he won 2 of them, but he was like mediocre. He was,
He's a very good player. And this is something Scotty and I have talked about when we talk about that draft class. I personally think Eli's the worst out of those 3 quarterbacks.
In a vacuum, Philip Rivers might be the best
one. So yeah, We've
talked about that before.
I don't think that.
I'm a way
that's the second
bigger
best draft class ever.
I'm a way bigger Big Ben guy than Chris is, but
no, I think he's a really good player, and I think he's really good. I mean, I think it goes Rivers and him are really close, and then Eli's way down.
You put that up there with the '83 draft class.
Close.
Elway, Jim Kelly,
close.
Marino, yeah. Even Ken O'Brien, he was a good quarterback.
It's like the 3 great NBA drafts.
And of course, the Patriots take the worst of the bunch. They took Tony Eason.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the greatest quarterback draft you're ever going to see. Probably.
By the way,
last year, we were talking about how incredible the last few drafts of quarterbacks had looked. I have an infamous Kaepernick bet. You don't even want to know about it.
Oh, my God.
But, I mean, you had Russell Wilson, Kaepernick, RG3, Luck, all these guys coming out, Cam Newton. I mean,
right now,
incredible, the crop. But now, how does the crop look? I mean, Russell Wilson's been really hot. Let's get into NFL MVP.
Hold on, is he number 1?
Yeah.
Right now of that group?
Of that group of he's number 1. So NFL MVP talk. Right now, if I had to vote today, as of today, just today, you kind of said this earlier, I'd go Carson Palmer. As of today,
I would too.
I'd put Brady 2. I'd put Cam 3 and Russell Wilson 4.
See,
and probably Kirk Cousins 5. So how does that sound? We brought him up.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Who expected Washington to? They win tomorrow. They're 9-7. I get it. It's 9-7.
But still,
for them, phenomenal.
And the thing is, I mean, Palmer's just looked ferocious this year.
I think,
but he has a ton of weapons around him.
This isn't going to be popular with, our whole group here. Whoever's listening to this, Patriot fans. I think Arizona's winning the whole thing. I really do. I just like the way they're playing.
Well, right now, I agree. I mean, if the Patriots get healthy, I think they're the best team in the league. And I don't even mean you need every play. You're not going to get Solder back. You're not going to get Lewis. I mean, I think the Pats have 12 guys on IR, which is last time I checked, they were leading the league.
Let me say this. I mean, let's assume that McCourty is relatively healthy because ankles linger. We all know that.
Okay, go to Pro Football Focus now. It's just Pro Football Focus. Belichick would say, "Meh, none of that matters," even though he uses them to some degree to at least cross-reference his own thoughts. Patriots have the best secondary in the league.
Logan Ryan's had a good year. Butler's had a good year.
Butler, McCourty, Chung.
Even Chung had a good year, yeah.
That's great. Harmon as the 5th guy.
Let's just make the assumption that the defense is healthy because I think they're going to be. I know
defense is healthy. I mean, you're stacked.
I know Hightower's a little banged up.
Look at the amount of number 1 picks they have on that defense.
Well, I get that. It's about time because he traded down for years. What have I always told you? Big, black, fast SEC. You can't go wrong.
This is the non-PC part of our program. But I want a white guy from the MAC. Slow.
No, I don't want no white guys from Rutgers. Okay, Bill? No.
But the thing is, once they traded the collective bargaining agreement and first-round picks weren't going to get astronomical amounts of guaranteed money,
right?
Because Bill likes value. That's what he's all about. He started drafting first rounders. And remember, he took Hightower and
he got Hightower in same draft to 2012.
People were like, "Wow, this is crazy. This is not Bill Belichick."
And you know this because you've known me for a long time. The listeners might not know this. I've been critical of Bill the GM in the past for his drafts, and some of that I think was warranted. Even you admitted it to some extent.
Well, you can't win every draft.
I get that.
But I think Bill's the best drafter. This is what I'm going to go on a limb and say. Not only is Bill the best GM now in the game, he's the best GM in the last 15 years. probably the best GM in football history, and he's up there as one of the best GMs, if not the best GM, to ever be in the 4 major sports. Put him and Auerbach in the same category because that's where they go.
Oh, I think, and this is a conversation for another day. I don't think anyone touches Red, but that's basketball. We'll get into that another time. I could, if I went through all the coups of Red Auerbach's career, and yes, that includes trading Gerald Henderson to Seattle in '84 after winning a championship, a starting guard on a championship team. 2 years later, turns that into landing Len Bias after the greatest team ever. That would have topped the list. Of course, we know what happened there, and they've won championship in the last 30 years. They've never recovered, but we'll get into that. God, that just depressed the hell out of me.
But so Belichick drafts Brady, 199.
Well, I mean, that was a lot. That was Dick Rabine. That was a lot of that. And plus, you would just
Dick Rabine, 199. Oh yeah, he's so good. I like him in the 6th round.
And they just signed. They just signed Drew to a $100 million contract at the time. There was no thought at any point that Brady was gonna take over for Bledsoe. I mean,
No,
that was
but the fact that you kept a 4th round player, fourth string quarterback on your roster. That's a big deal.
well, they liked him.
That's what Bill the coach and Bill the GM overlap, and they can't be like separated. It's like God the Son, God the Father. You know what I mean? I don't know, what is it? Bill the tactician is God the Holy Spirit. I don't know. But the whole thing is like there's only so much you can do to separate the two of them. I mean, I criticize Bill the coach more than Bill the GM, and I think Bill the coach has lost you 3 games this year. To be frank.
Well, you know what the thing is with Bill? They're 100% healthy. I don't think he makes those decisions, and I think it's a moot point. I think
that Philly decision was ridiculous.
I think the drop kick punt. I know, onside kick, whatever the hell it was. Bill has been, and I can't really criticize him for it. Right now, he's coaching based on the personnel he has on the field instead
but
of what he would usually do.
But he's a combination of arrogant and scared. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Right. He'll be really conservative for like 2 drives and then go for it on like, he'll do like Indy 09 like the next drive. Like, I know what you're saying.
Like, yeah, 4th and 1 from your own 9, and he's like, go for it. I'm like, you can't do that.
One point we got off track a little bit. I was going to make about Bill the GM getting back to his drafts, and he has earned criticism over the years from me, and Chris will tell you all day long. But
he's had great drafts too.
I'll tell you one thing about Bill that can't be understated. He doesn't always use his 1st round pick, which has frustrated me in the past. Obviously, as Chris mentioned, after the new CBA in 2011, that changed a little bit. Whenever he's used a 1st round pick since he's been here, he's hit. He took Seymour in 01. He took Ty Warren in 03. He took Will Fork in 04.
Mankins.
He took Mankins.
05.
He took, even though I, bash him from time to time. I mean, Mayo for like the first few years was a pretty good pick.
Mayo was an All-Pro, Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he made a couple Pro Bowls.
He was really good his first couple of years, and then he just kind of regressed. But
he destroyed his leg twice.
Well, but his leg was pretty healthy in the Super Bowl when the ball whizzed by his head. But that's. You're giving me that look.
One play.
But but he made that play a lot. McCourty was 1st round pick, right, in 2010.
Yes,
all right, McCourty, that panned out.
The thing is, a lot of these are end of the round 1st round picks.
That's not even.
I mean, Patriot fans always want to make these. Oh, you could have taken Des Bryant. Yeah, but the guys you got instead of Des Bryant were quite a big deal, including McCourty. Oh, you could have taken Clay Matthews. Yeah, but you know what? If you take Clay Matthews, you don't get Gronk. Because the trades that ended up happening ended up getting you Gronk.
It's all a domino effect.
Right. So people don't realize, oh, you missed this guy. Well, yeah. Every player you didn't draft that was before the guy you drafted, you missed. That's how that works.
And 2010 draft, he got, think about this for a second. He got Devin McCourty.
2010 draft, one of the best drafts I've ever seen.
He got Devin McCourty, Rob Gronkowski, and Aaron Hernandez.
I know people want to criticize the Aaron Hernandez pick. First of all, usually don't get that much out of a 4th round pick anyways. Second of all,
that man, if he isn't a serial killer and a psychopath, the guy's a top 15 pick. He was the best. He got the 2 best tight ends in the country in the 2nd and 4th round, respectively. No one does that.
Right. And
no one does that.
The reason that he gets all these players sometimes is because he does take chances. Calculated chances. Like Gronk was a calculated risk.
Because of the back surgery after his junior year.
Yeah.
He brought in Aqib Talib. There were a lot of question marks there. Aqib was a good soldier here. He had no problems whatsoever.
Look at LeGarrette.
LG, same
He hasn't
thing.
had a good year this year, but he's brought in for peanuts.
Well, I mean,
I know you're gonna say Hainsworth, other stuff, or Chad Ocho, but guys, people need to remember,
Ocho was just too
those
stupid.
are crap end of the draft picks that we're trading for him.
I mean, he got Randy Moss for like a 4th-round pick or something like that. I can't even remember.
Yeah, I believe he paid
You got-
more for.
You got arguably the best receiver of all time for like a 4th-round pick.
Yeah,
I know you're gonna say Jerry Rice. I mean, I haven't seen many receivers, if any, better than Moss at his peak, honestly, when he wanted to play. And I love you, Randy, but come on, sometimes you took plays off, bro.
But I mean, I think this week, if Arizona wins, barring Brady going absolutely ham,
Well, here's
he's gonna win the MVP. I would give him the MVP.
let's do a quick look at playoff standings. So we got right now. Right now, your 2 bye teams, Patriots are locked in are at the 1 right now. That could change tomorrow if they lose to Miami. Denver right now is in the 2. It's simple for the Patriots and the Broncos. They both win. They're 1 and 2. They're locked. Cincinnati can't beat them. Can't catch them because Cincinnati lost a tiebreaker with Denver. The thing is, if the Broncos win and the Patriots lose, they're both 12 and 4, but we lose the tiebreaker. So Denver would vault that over them into the 1 seed. Houston, by virtue of playing in the worst division in the history of football, they're going to finish 8 and 8 probably and win the AFC South. And your 2 wild cards as of right now, Kansas City's locked in the 5. They're clinched.
Well, it is possible
for the
Houston
Chiefs.
loses.
It's possible for the
and
Chiefs
Indy
to win
wins.
AFC West, by the way.
Well, yeah. No, Denver can get every seed
Indy needs a lot of help.
except for the 4. Denver can get the 1, the 2, the 3, the 5, and the 6. As odd as that sounds,
Yep.
we're not going to go through all the possibilities, but they can be anything but the 4.
Kansas City can still
If
catch
Houston
them.
loses and like 8 other teams win, and Indy wins,
They're in.
they're in. Like
our-
they need
and our-
like a 9-team parlay.
And
It's
I'm
ridiculous.
and I'm alive for our bet.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I already threw up the white flag all, but it's just way too many things have to happen for Indy to get in.
I'd prefer Pitt to stay out of it. Other than that, I like the way it looks now. I mean,
You know what? Would you? I was thinking about it. Wouldn't it be easy to play the Steelers?
no, I don't want to play anybody.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll just get a bye all the way.
I mean,
back.
if I had my preference out of who came to me in the after the first round, I'd pick Houston, but that's not how it works because they'd be the highest seed probably. I mean, maybe
well,
depends who wins. I mean, if someone beats the Bengals, I guess.
I really don't see both Cincinnati and Houston winning.
Winning at home.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, assuming the Pats win tomorrow and clinch the 1 seed, and you got Houston at home, that's a freaking cakewalk. You're in the AFC Championship game if that happens.
That's what I'd like to see. Yeah, I mean,
Well, of course you would, but that's not going to happen. We're probably going to, realistically.
thing is, I don't think any of these games are a cakewalk. I mean, I know how you always they're always like, don't get worried about that team. I'm like, you do though. Like,
Yeah, no,
it's the NFL, and these are good NFL teams.
guys, folks, you don't have to worry about Houston. It's
Okay.
You block J.J. Watt, you win
They
the
shouldn't
game.
even show up.
You block J.J. Watt, you win. Yeah, bring your Letterman's jackets, your high school jackets. That's fine.
Go to the NFC real quick.
Arizona could actually.
Arizona could get the 1 seed if they win and Carolina loses. That's not going to happen. I
Carolina's
don't
got.
see Tampa Bay beating Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina's got something to play for tomorrow, so I don't think they're
And
going
it's
to lose.
at Carolina.
One thing,
Green Bay.
I love that.
Green Bay
I love that game.
Green Bay at home beat Minnesota, Detroit, and Chicago. Okay, I mean on the road. That's what I meant. On the road, they beat Minnesota, Detroit, and Chicago. If they lose tomorrow, they lose at home to Minnesota, Detroit, and Chicago. Who sweeps their division on the road but loses to the division at home?
A team without Jordy Nelson.
It's not just Jordy Nelson. In the beginning of the year, they were playing phenomenal.
And I'll be, they were 6-0. They were playing. The Denver game was the beginning of their slide, and I gotta say one thing. I love Aaron Rodgers.
Something
man.
wrong with Rodgers?
I love Aaron Rodgers.
I love Rodgers too.
When he's not playing the Patriots, I get a big Woody in my sweats watching Aaron Rodgers play. But he's getting killed, and I don't think it's fair. I mean, he doesn't have Jordy Nelson. His offensive line stinks. Eddie Lacy's taken a major step back this year.
Okay, but when Brady misses everybody and his offensive line stinks and 2 of his running backs go down, he's still look at him. Look at him.
Can I finish?
Finish.
He has Bill Belichick.
Oh, that's a bunch of. Listen, Bill Belichick. He's not a great coach.
Mike
'cause I think Bill Belichick's
Mike
not
McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, pretty good coach. Yeah, won a Super Bowl. Is he Bill Belichick? No, not even close.
I want to know and wish we could find out how great Bill Belichick would be without Tom Brady.
We'll never know.
Right, but the thing
Well,
is,
yes, and you saw him in Cleveland.
I saw him in Cleveland. I saw him the first year in 2 games of New England.
The first couple of years weren't that great. The first few years, they made the playoffs his 4th year. In '95, I throw out because that distraction was monumental. With them moving to Baltimore, you got to throw that season out.
My point is not that I don't think Belichick could be or is the greatest coach of all time, but I could coach Tom Brady. I could coach LeBron. I could coach Jordan. I'd be like, go do your thing.
I still might put him. Honestly, I still might put him 3rd all time for NFL coaches.
Lombardi
and Paul Brown. I definitely have him ahead of Shula. All right, Don Shula had Dan Marino and can only go to 1 Super Bowl. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Fair enough.
By the way, my dad is. We were talking.
But Marino's no Tom Brady.
We were before Brady and Manning came along. He was the best I've seen. And I got to say this because we were talking about the '83 draft earlier. It's been how many years since it? Almost 33 years. 33 years in a couple months. And my father is still sick to his stomach that they didn't take Dan Marino and they took Tony Eason instead. He's still just despicably upset that they didn't take Dan Marino.
Yeah, we got Tom Brady. I'm okay with it.
Whenever I complain about Len Bias and Reggie Lewis and not getting Tim Duncan, my dad always says Tom Brady is your makeup call for that. So just deal with it.
I mean, everyone else, I believe.
Washington's locked in the 4. They're not going up. They're not
Seattle
going down.
can only get the 5 if they win.
And Minnesota loses.
And Minnesota loses, yeah, because the tiebreak is. If the current seeding stays as they are, Carolina the 1, Arizona the 2, Green Bay the 3. Actually, that can't happen, huh? Well, yeah, it could if Seattle loses. Washington the 4, Minnesota the 5, and Seattle the 6. I mean, I think Seattle goes to Green Bay and wins. In the first round.
I'm going to say this right now, just so no one can accuse me of, Monday morning quarterback in this thing. The Carolina Panthers are not going to the Super Bowl.
Right, I was going to say.
They're not going to the Super Bowl.
I could see Seattle beating Green Bay in the first round.
I could totally
Minnesota's
see.
going to beat the Redskins, in my opinion, if it stays the way it is.
See, the AFC is a little bit more clear. The NFC is still kind of jumbled.
But see, if Carolina has to play Seattle in the divisional, Seattle might mollywop them. And then even if they don't, I think Arizona comes to Carolina and wins.
I completely expect Seattle to go to Carolina and beat them. If it stands away, it's especially because you're gonna get beast mode back too. So if you get a lead, you're gonna be able to run the clock a little bit.
Wilson's been playing, that team's been playing, the defense has been playing recently. Everybody.
See, I'm a Russell Wilson guy. I know a lot of people that.
No, he's my 3rd favorite quarterback in the league.
Yeah,
it goes Brady, Rodgers, Wilson.
But Russell Wilson, he doesn't do the Superman dance. He doesn't do all these stupid dances. And
like Cam.
Take pictures on the sidelines. He just wins, baby. He just wins.
I like Cam. Come on.
He just wins.
I don't know about you, but in any sporting event, I was one of the biggest shit talkers you'll ever meet. So I'm fine with it if it's. And I don't care. Listen, to me, doing the Superman stuff is no different than Larry Bird saying, "Hey, who's going to come in second tonight?" Come on, you are what you are. You do what you do.
That's Larry Bird.
Yeah, but. Listen, I'm sure Brady goes out there and talks a bunch of shit all the time, and I'd probably love it if he does.
That's Tom Brady.
I get that, but what I'm saying is...
Let him win, a playoff game. He's never even won anything. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, he's 14-1, and honestly, he might be the MVP. If he's... Let me say this. If he's voted the MVP, I have no issue with that. No qualms about that at all.
I do, and I'll tell you why. He's not the best quarterback.
Well, it's not the best quarterback. If they had a vote for best player in the league, Tom Brady's going to win this year.
Carson Palmer, Tom Brady, and Russell Wilson are all better. And he's not the most valuable because without him, that team's still a good team.
See, if I had a vote, I might go Palmer right now, honestly. But
if I had a vote today, I would go Palmer 1,
Brady 2. Do you know why?
Cam 3.
Because last year, when they were 8-1 with Palmer as quarterback, they went down. They had Ryan Lindley starting quarterback, and you saw what happened.
Look, Carolina should have 3 or 4 losses if it's just based on quarterback play. That's not to pick on Cam Newton.
The other thing too, and I'm sorry to cut you off. The NFC West. Keep in mind, I know they got off to a rocky start. They've gotten really hot lately, and I know that they lost to St. Louis this week. St. Louis, for some reason, has their number. Arizona still has to play Seattle twice a year. Who has Carolina played?
That was my point. And Carolina has,
which isn't their fault, by the way.
Carolina,
you play your schedule.
No, at the end of this week, though, Carolina might have the easiest schedule in the whole league. I don't remember, what their strength of schedule is going to be at the end of the year. I mean, part of it depends on wins and losses still going on.
Right.
But they have one of the easiest schedules.
Mm-hmm.
They have a great defense.
Yep.
They have a very good running game.
Yep.
I mean, I know Kelvin Benjamin went down, and he was a great receiver for them.
Right.
He's like their number one receiver. But everyone else has like played lights out for the most part. I mean, I know Ted Ginn either drops the ball or catches a touchdown, but I'm cool with that. Just throw it to him twice. You know what I mean? Greg Olson's phenomenal and he's so underrated. I mean, he's not Rob Gronkowski, but he's definitely friggin' way up there.
Who is? You know.
That
Nobody.
team, honestly, Carolina, I think any good quarterback has them where they are. Maybe they're 13-2 and not 14-1. But you can sit there and tell me you put Carson Palmer on that team, they're suddenly worse? No. Put Brady in that team, they're suddenly worse? No. If I put Cam Newton on the Patriots, I don't think they're better. I don't. I don't think Cam Newton wants to throw to DeAndre Hopkins and have no offensive line.
Are the Patriots still?
But the Carolina's offensive line is stunning, but
Are the Patriots still 12-3 if Carson's their quarterback?
no. No, I think
What
Brady...
about Wilson?
Maybe.
The way he's playing.
Yeah, but see, the thing with Wilson is he played shit at the beginning of the year. And I don't know if you can rely on Russell Wilson for an entire 16-game schedule.
Well, I mean,
He's
he won
had 5 phenomenal games.
He won a Super Bowl and he went to another one.
But he has all right, just the raw numbers.
He's all right.
Brady has 46
go into that.
4,636 yards, okay? 36 touchdowns and a rating of 103.1.
Palmer's actually ahead of him yards, right? No, he's a little behind him.
Okay. 45, 42 yards, 34 touchdowns, rating of 106.8. Wilson has 38, 27 yards, 31 touchdowns.
He's going to go over 4,000.
Yeah, he'll probably go right over 4 and a 109.3 rating. But over 4,000 in this league is nothing. I mean, look at Brady and Palmer already over 4,500. I mean, Brady is not going to make 5,000, and he probably should have, but he's had a few crappy games down the stretch. He's got 46-36 now. I mean, he's 800 yards above the guy, more. And Cam Newton's been repeatedly about 1,100 yards behind Brady at 35-44. Now, I know Cam runs more than Brady, yada, yada, yada. Cam also has 33 touchdowns. He has a 97 rating. That sounds awesome until you realize that's like borderline middle of the pack in this league.
I almost smacked my friend upside the head the other day when he said he'd take Cam Newton over Rodgers. I said, you're never allowed to watch football again.
Yeah, because, I'm sorry, Rodgers is incredible. He is. I mean, I know this year, like, he's not having a good year. He's having a down year.
Yeah, and you know what? He doesn't have Jordy Nelson. We differ on this. I think Jordy Nelson's a top 5-10 receiver in the game.
No. You said top 5. I can't. Top 10,
he's
maybe
right.
15.
He's right there.
No.
He's right there.
No, Antonio Brown is just an absolute absurd monster.
Antonio Brown got more acceleration.
More power.
Got more power.
Yeah, Antonio Brown is just ridiculous. Julio Jones is ridiculous. Demaryius Thomas, I know you don't like him. He's just ridiculous.
I don't dislike him. I just
the problem is he doesn't have someone throwing.
I think
to
he's
him.
soft. That's
he is soft, but you know what? You can be soft every 5th play.
I think AJ Green's soft.
AJ Green's a beast.
I think he's soft too.
A lot of receivers are soft.
Wide
receivers don't want to go play with the big boys.
Marvin Harrison, one of the best receivers ever. I thought he was soft.
Oh, well, receivers are supposed to be soft.
Troy Brown wasn't.
Well, okay, he's more of a slot guy, number 1.
Well,
Number 2, Troy Brown's also like the kind of guy that had to be a gamer to make the league at all. So
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice wasn't soft either, but he also wasn't an outstanding
Jerry
talent.
Rice.
Randy Moss is soft. Randy was soft, and he dogged it. Come on.
Little.
Randy Moss alligator armed like crazy when he was going to get hit. Let's be real.
I tell you, one of the toughest receivers, maybe the toughest receiver.
Wayne Corbett was tough as shit.
No, one of the
West was tough as shit.
One of the toughest number 1 receivers I ever watched. He went over the middle all the time. Knew he was going to get his ass handed to him and get hit. Never flinched. Was Andre Reed.
Andre Reed was a beast.
He went over the middle all day.
Honestly, I think Michael Irvin was a lot hotter than a lot of the other receivers.
Playmaker. Oh yeah.
But a lot of receivers are soft. I mean, it's just the nature of the position. I mean, it's not like these guys are safeties or defensive tackles. They're wide receivers.
But Antonio Brown's a real deal, man. I tell you,
Antonio Brown makes people look silly. Jordy Nelson, as great as he is somewhat of a one-trick pony. Like, go deep and Rodgers is going to hit you with a laser beam. Like, okay.
Well, it's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but that's my point.
But we went to Salem to watch the opener against Pittsburgh this year, and it was a little deceiving. The Pats won by 7. They were in control that whole game.
They were up 14 till the final play. I mean,
to the last 2 seconds. But I thought Butler actually played pretty good coverage that day, and Antonio Brown still had like 11 catches for 100
what I
yards.
said, what my prediction came true. I think Butler's already better than Revis today.
You know what the funny thing is too? My brother said you were an idiot at the time, but right now you look right.
Yeah, well, I think you're like, again, I thought your brother thinks that I
He-
meant
he
career
thought-
wise.
yes,
I didn't
that's
mean
what
career
he
wise.
did.
I said, and I meant that Butler had a chance this year. Although I said probably next year he'll be a better player than Darrelle Revis. Now I meant at the time, because listen, Revis is in his 30s. He's a cornerback, and Butler. I mean, ever since Game 3 of last year's preseason, you and I were like, "Wow, this kid's actually pretty good."
Yep.
Granted, preseason, Zach Sudfeld was making the Hall of Fame.
I still remember. Oh, this guy had Studfeld and
Zach
Canton.
Studfeld. Listen, I wasn't the only one that was juicing this guy up, all right, rubbing his balls. Like, everyone loved this kid. Everyone was like, "Oh, he was like Gronk 2.0.
No,
Like, he's
baby
just
Gronk,
amazing."
we called
Like,
him.
yeah, everyone was like all about it. And then like suddenly he sucks, and everyone says, "Oh, Keefe, you thought he was gonna be so good." Yeah, everyone thought he was gonna be so good.
Oh,
It wasn't
Bob-
just me.
Oh, Bob Newmeyer had him in Canton.
Yeah, everyone had him in Canton. Yeah, I mean, the local people. You know how we are.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just don't think Cam should be the MVP. I don't think he's the most valuable.
Putting my
Is he the best player or the most important player on the team with the best record? Sure. Is he the best player? No. Is he the most valuable? No.
I don't. Let me put
I
it
think
this
if you
way.
switch positions with any of those other three guys, I don't know that Cam is doing
See,
what
I
they're
think,
doing.
I think Carolina's still 14-1, and you said that you alluded to this earlier. I still think that Carolina's 14-1 if Brady or Palmer is their quarterback. I don't think that. What's Arizona? Arizona's 13-2. If Newton's their quarterback, I'm not sure that they're 13-2.
I mean, they should have. Newton played like hush shit against Philadelphia.
If Brady is Arizona's quarterback with Larry Fitzgerald and Floyd and all them, they're probably undefeated.
I mean, as much as I love Hightower and Collins, I'm going to sit here and tell you, Carolina probably has the best linebacking core
Kuechly, yeah,
in the league.
He's a stud.
And so,
And when he was at BC, I was like, he's going to be a good player. I had no idea he was going to be this good.
I don't think anyone knew he was going to be this good. And what was he
No.
drafted, like 10, 15?
Something like that.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
a very, very good player. I mean, solid player.
I knew he was going to be good. I had no idea.
He might already be a Hall of Famer.
That's too early.
It's wicked early, but
Wicked early.
how many?
He's only been in the league a few years.
Yeah, what's it? His fourth year now?
Something like, yeah.
Yeah, I was looking it up on.
I think he was drafted in 11, wasn't he?
Can't remember. I was looking it
I'll
up
look it
on
up right I can never.
on Thanksgiving with my cousin and cousin-in-law,
How do you spell his name? I can never spell his freaking name.
Luke, and then
K-E-U.
K-U-E.
Oh, K-U-E.
I think
Oh, there he is.
C-H,
Yeah,
yeah.
there he is. Okay. Yeah, man, I remember I liked him at BC. But
See, 2012 he came in the league. So this is his fourth
he was
year.
the ninth pick in the draft.
He was defensive rookie of the year.
Yep.
He's been a defensive player of the year once. What's he been to? 3 Pro Bowls already?
Something. Yeah. Man, I love the kid. Yeah, 3-time Pro Bowler.
I mean, he's gonna end up
First
being.
first team All Pro the last 2 years. He's gonna be again this year. He should be.
Yeah, he's almost already in the Hall of Fame. I mean, let's just put it out there. J.J. Watt is a Hall of Famer today. The guy that
Today.
if someone goes out and,
Today.
like, when he goes out to go lumberjacking and someone saws his legs off with a chainsaw, I mean, he'd still probably be able to play. But he's such a tough guy. But he's already in the Hall of Fame. J.J. Watt.
Yeah, probably.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Probably. Yep.
2-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, probably.
Beast
I actually-
career he's had already.
I thought we were having this argument a year ago.
Him
at
and
this
Lawrence
time.
Taylor are the epitome
Oh,
of most
stop.
impactful. No,
Stop with LT.
no.
No.
J.J. Watt is
It's
the
LT.
closest thing to LT, if not as high as LT as the
Ray
league has seen.
Lewis.
No.
Ray Lewis.
J.J. Watt's a better player right now than J.J.
Than
Watt.
Ray
at his
Lewis
prime
ever
is a
was?
better, yes.
Oh,
than
forget
Ray Lewis
about
at his
it.
prime.
No way. No way.
Yes.
No freaking way.
Yes.
I don't
J.J.
care.
Watt.
I don't care if he killed 2 people. He's
Most
second.
disruptive force at defense since it's got to be since LT.
I'd still take Ray Lewis. We'll argue about this the next hour. So
Is it because he's
so
big,
you know.
black,
What?
fast?
Well, Miami's not in the SEC.
No,
He
I know,
has a lot
big,
of those.
black, fast. That's right.
He was in the.
See how I didn't left out SEC?
If the U was in the SEC, then it's a slam.
I mean,
dunk.
J.J. Watt can box jump 60 inches, dude. Seen his videos?
I'd still take Ray Lewis. He's the best linebacker I saw. Well, I saw LT.
I didn't say linebacker. I said defensive player.
I saw LT. It was at the end.
I think J.J. Watt's the best defensive player since LT. Got a chance to be the best defensive player ever. I'm not saying like career-wise he's better than Ray Lewis already, but pure impact at the height of their game, I think J.J. Watt is up there with LT, and that's it.
We were arguing about this a year ago. I thought he was. I had no problem with him being voted best player in the league a year ago. I think it was Watt 1, Rodgers 2, Brady 3. That was fine.
Yeah, on NFL Top 100.
Right, that was fine. You were like, Scotty, how can you not say he's the MVP? His team didn't make the playoffs. I couldn't vote for him.
No, I didn't expect him to be MVP.
Rodgers was. I would have voted if I
You're
had a
wrong.
vote.
I didn't have him as MVP.
I think you said like he should be
No,
MVP.
because his defense was the 22nd in the league, and the team sucked. Can't be MVP that way.
See, I thought Rodgers was the MVP. I thought the right guy won.
Yeah, I agreed.
And the funny thing is, for like an 8-week stretch, Brady was probably playing better than Rodgers. But I mean, the first few weeks of the season probably killed Brady's
People
chances.
don't realize Brady always has
He's like top 5 every year.
amazing streaks in every year. Then he usually has a 2 to 4 game
Lol.
lull, always. So the lull he had at the beginning of last year, 2013 we're going to throw out because he was throwing to Tom, Dick, and Harry and the mailman. But
And he still won 12 games with the bye.
But literally, Tom Brady every year almost, if you go and check it out, he has 4-game stretches like he did at the beginning of 2014, all the time. All the time. He has a couple bad games.
It was never as extreme as
On
the
top of that,
beginning of last
I don't
year.
think people realize, like, although they like to downplay the AFC East and downplay the Patriots' schedule every year, Brady almost always somehow ends up with one of the hardest defensive schedules each season. Now, maybe that's because everyone playing the Patriots gets ready to play Brady and they have, like, great secondaries. I'm not saying this year per se.
Over the years, the Dolphins have had years when they've had really good Ds. Those
The Jets,
Zach Thomas,
Buffalo,
Jason Taylor.
Buffalo, what have they had other than a defense in the past 10 years, 15 years? They haven't had an offense.
I still think the Jets might have the best D in football.
No,
They're
I don't
healthy.
think so.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Agree to disagree there. I think they're like maybe the 5th, 6th best defense.
They're good defense regardless.
Arizona's got a very good D. Carolina's got a very good D. Denver's got a very good D. The Patriots actually have a very good D. I think those defenses are all better than the Jets. Cincinnati's defense is really good. There's a lot of...
They were awful in the second half in Denver the other day.
Oh, yeah, I agree, but it's a game.
Yeah.
Let's go to a different sport for a moment.
What do
Let's
you wanna
talk
go
about hockey, I guess, to get it out of the way.
I know, for those who know us, like, hockey's my 4th sport. O'Keefe's it's his 4th sport. So
Yeah, the Bruins are, I think, what we thought they were going to be.
again,
When we talked in the
getting back to
our
the
other
dentistry.
podcasts.
Yeah.
They're just a mediocre team.
The funny thing is, if they won in regulation yesterday and got the 2 points, they would have been at first in the Atlantic. Right now,
Well, I think we talked about that at the beginning of this too. Like,
right now,
the East is wide open.
right now they're 4th in the East in the Atlantic division. I hate this new configuration, by the way. They're 4th with 44 points. Montreal's in 2nd with 47. Florida's actually in 1st place in the Atlantic with 48 points. It's a little surprising. I'm still not used to seeing Detroit in the Eastern Conference. But
Yeah, the new alignment is horrible.
actually, well, it's not horrible.
It is horrible.
I don't like it as much as the old one.
It's horrible. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
No, that's fine. But the Bruins, 20-13, 4 overtime losses, losing shootouts, 44 points. It's not terrible. It's actually better than I anticipated them being. But if you go to like the conference standings,
What are they, the 8th seed right now?
right now they are. Washington has 59 points. They're running away with it.
Yeah.
They do that every year.
As of right now, the Bruins are the 8th seed.
Okay. So right now they play Washington in the first round of the playoffs. Did you expect them to be higher than an 8th seed? I didn't.
No, we expect them to be borderline suck.
Yeah.
Like, not like great, not terrible, but
It's sort of like a rebuilding year anyway. We already like kind of resigned to the fact before the season. Milan Lucic was gone. That Sagan trade. I think Dallas has the best record in hockey right now, don't they?
that, like, what do you do with Julian? Are you going to keep him still?
Dallas has 60 points right now, first in the NHL.
Yeah, we talked about
Who's
that.
the
when
star
we
of their
traded
game?
him.
Who's the star of the game?
Never trade away a horse for 2 ponies. Just don't do it.
They were just frustrated to sell with them from the nightlife.
I understand that, but you can't do that.
You're asking me about Claude?
Yeah.
I love Claude. I would never get rid of him, but that's just me. I'm in the minority.
You know how everybody is, though. They're like, oh, get rid of him.
Well, of course. I mean,
Especially if they don't do anything this year. People imagine they don't make the playoffs. Everyone's gonna want to get rid of him. You get who? Who?
bring back Mike Milbury. I don't know. What the hell you want from me?
I know. They can have Chip Kelly.
Let Dale Arnold coach the team.
Yeah, let Dale Arnold go.
The guy who doesn't bring his kids to Celtic games because Kevin Garnett swears. Get over it.
I can't stand Dale Arnold sometimes. I like Dale in general, but
You can't say that on radio, Dale. Come on, man. But you know what? You're on radio and I'm not, so who's the idiot? But that performance yesterday was just absolutely like embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I watched to the end of the second period and I was like, I'm tired. I'm gonna take a nap. I didn't even see the third period. I know they scored a goal.
I know a lot of people over there. Watched absolutely none of it yesterday.
I had a chance to go and I didn't.
Really?
Yeah, Em had tickets.
You should have went.
Yeah, I didn't want to go.
You had to go.
She went with one of her girlfriends.
No, you gotta go. It looked incredible to be there.
If I'm going to Foxborough, I'm either going to a Guns N' Roses concert or a Patriots game. That's it. And I'm stoked, by the way. I emailed you guys the other day and no one freaking answered.
I don't care about Guns N' Roses.
All right, Axl and Slash made amends. Summer tour next year. I'm going to be there. I'll give a shit where it is. I'm going to be there. But waiting for them to patch things up for 20 freaking years, man. I'm going.
But in general, I mean, I don't think the Bruins are going anywhere.
I don't think anyone expected them to.
No, I'm just saying.
But you know what? I'm fine with that because you know what? Like I said a couple of months ago, last time we were on this, you can't just judge Don Sweeney on the first 3 months. You got to give him time.
Oh, I get that. You got to give. We always can give people time.
Yep.
The whole point of
the whole Chip Kelly thing.
Chip Kelly thing, like
right.
You can't have someone come in to a GMing position, a coaching position, something like that, and then fire him right away. That doesn't help your team. It doesn't help your franchise.
No, it doesn't.
Like when people sit there and they go, "What do the Patriots have with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick?" As corny as it sounds, you have stability. I mean, a lot of these places, like in the NFL, that keep the quarterback that they have that's maybe just above mediocre, like say a Joe Flacco, you do that because it's stability. Because you don't know that the next guy's going to be better. That's the thing with a coaching job or a GMing job. You can't just guarantee the next guy's going to be better. Yep. It's not just easy to find an A-plus coach and manager.
We were talking about this earlier. You know, talking about general managers. The Celtics really. Walter Brown was the Celtics owner upon their inception. I think he died in '64. So like the first 18 years they had Walter Brown. Then they changed ownership like 12 times in 20 years, something ridiculous like that. They had a new owner every year, it seems like. But they always had one constant. They always had, Auerbach as like the GM. So, I mean, there was value in that. I mean, and most of the owners that came in, except for John Y. Brown, basically just let Red run the show. They would just, okay, do your thing. And Kraft has done that. He's really given Belichick carte blanche to do whatever he wants.
That's huge, and that's
which is why I think he's so successful, and I think he learned from his mistakes with Bill Parcells.
Well, I'm worried about bringing that to the Bruins, Cam Neely's role.
What do you think?
I didn't dislike Chiarelli. Everyone, again, I have a huge problem with Bruins fans and people in general, and I think I said this on one of the other podcasts, but no one was mad when they signed all the players that they signed, and when they were winning games, and they were on that stretch. I mean, I know one person that had said that was going to blow up. That's just one.
Your cousin, right?
My cousin's friend Tom. My cousin Tom's friend Tom. Okay? Other than that, no one said that. No one was
Do you know why no one said that at the time? Because Tim Thomas was standing on his head and no one knows.
Well, because you won one cup and you went to another finals. Other than Chicago, you were the most...
Oh, L.A., they've won 2 cups.
No, but at the time, I think in that period, you were the most dominant team in the league other than Chicago.
Right.
And then you won your nice little presidents, and yay!
Oh, the Losers Award? Yeah.
Well, that everyone was going so crazy about when we won it.
Which I still can't understand. I was telling people it means nothing.
It's a regular season trophy. It's like, yeah, good job. I want a preseason trophy from now on for most sports. Like, yeah, you won the preseason trophy. But, it's just nuts.
You know what? As far as giving GM time...
And I know a lot of their draft picks didn't pan out.
Well, they had some horrendous drafts. Other than like Sagan and Marchand, like who did they draft that really panned out?
Dougie Hamilton.
So I'm not even sure he panned out.
You don't think so?
What's he doing in Calgary? Let's see. Where's Calgary?
Yeah, but
second to last in the West.
You can't just look at that
Yeah, I
and say,
get
"Oh,
that.
that's one guy
36
sucks."
points. Well, let's look. By the way, and we've been giving Danny Ainge a few years now, talking about GMs. He's got to do something with these draft picks. Because what I watched the last 2 nights, I'm just disgusted, man. Just absolutely disgusted, and I'm sure that...
Yeah, let's go on to the Celtics for a second.
I want to look up Hamilton. And
Other than the fact that Olenek's infinitely better than I thought he was, which is not hard because I thought he was infinitely terrible.
Yeah, how could the expectations go any lower? He's a big, skinny white guy who can't box out with long hair, and his name is Kelly. How could your freaking expectations be any lower? All right. Where the hell is the season stat? 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points. It doesn't have plus minus here, but
he's a defenseman.
It's a defenseman, so it's still
he's still
early.
A beast. I mean, did he get overpaid? Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But was he way overpaid? Isn't everyone overpaid?
I think every athlete in sports is overpaid now.
I don't mean like that. I mean cap wise.
Look at the contract Zach Greinke just got, for God's sake.
No cap in baseball. Do whatever you want.
I get the cap. Well, by the way, I know you're a big Sox fan, even though you don't care about baseball half the time. I think
it's too long.
I think it's great you guys signed David Price. I think he's really going to help you guys in the regular season. Just like if the Red Sox make the playoffs, just don't expect him to show up, man.
Note to the listeners:
just don't expect.
When David Price wins 3 playoff games this year,
when he wins 1 playoff game,
any playoff games, give shit to Scotty, okay?
It's not going to happen because the Red Sox probably still won't make the playoffs, but. All right, so, yeah, let's move on to the Celtics, and then we'll wrap it up with football again. Danny Ainge, what the hell are you doing? This little engine that could stuff was cute for a couple months, and now it's just frustrating. He just lost to the Lakers at home. And I'll be honest with you, I've been watching the season with a grain of salt. I just want to see how the young kids play. Maybe the Nets can bottom out, and you get a good draft pick.
But did we expect anything from this team either, though?
No, like we said a couple months ago.
They're 18 and 15 right now. We expected them to have
43, 44 wins. Right.
They're right on pace, dude. They'll get there.
I did not expect them to lose to the 2 of the 3 worst teams in basketball at home. And by the way, they lost to Lakers at home, which was pitiful. Today wasn't as bad because Brooklyn's actually been playing better, much to my dismay. But I was at the... Oh, for those of you who don't know, going back to the old Garden, the tradition is my father, my brother, and myself, the night before Thanksgiving of the season, playing at home, we go to the game. They happened to play Philly a couple of weeks ago. They were down 14, and they went on a 21-3 run to win the game. I think they won by a couple of points. They should be winless at home against the worst 3 teams in the league. Okay? I'm not stupid. I know none of the Celtics and Brad Stevens and Danny. I know you guys don't listen to our podcast, and that's fine because we can't even get it on the freaking YouTube anyway. But here's the thing.
Listen, I know Brad Stevens listens.
Yeah, okay. Brad, listen up, buddy. Your team can't take the first 3 quarters off and then just flip the switch like the Golden State Warriors could do. Do you know why? Because you have no talent. The only way that you can win games is to play.
They have a lot of talent.
No, they don't.
They have a lot
they
of 4
really
through
don't.
10s. 4
They
through 8s.
they don't even.
4 through.
I can name probably 3 guys on this team right now that I keep.
Oh, get out of here!
I keep Jay Crowder. He's probably.
I like Jay Crowder actually. Probably my favorite player.
Amir Johnson is.
Amir Johnson's pretty good.
He's awful. He is so bad.
Listen, I understand that he's not what you want him to be.
All right, Brook Lopez scored 30. Well, not that Brook Lopez is bad. By the way, why is it that the first freaking year we have their pick, Brook Lopez routinely misses 65-plus games a year? He's perfectly healthy this year. Go figure.
He's got plenty of time to break a foot or whatever he does.
He won't. Because, you know why? Because it's the curse of Len Bias, and we have their pick.
We've already won a championship since then.
That team was just so talented that it just overrode the curse. The curse still exists.
Anything is possible.
All right, you had Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. Like there was the curse was still there. It was the curse was like facing
Actually,
such.
the curse was the fact that the reason they didn't win 5 championships in a row.
No, the curse was like met with such resistance because that 08 team was just so freaking stacked. They just couldn't handle it. All right, so Lopez today was 11-24 from the field. Plus 17, 30 points, 13 rebounds. Thaddeus Young's actually been playing really good for them. He had 16 and 10 today. Jarrett Jack, who I always liked, he kind of
Jarrett
had
Jack's a
bad day.
baller.
I like him.
He plays.
I like him. The corpse of Joe Johnson had 20 points, which is sad because if Joe Johnson was on the Celtics team, he'd probably be the best player on the team.
Well, with Joe Johnson, it's never about how many points he has. It's always about how many shots does it take to get him those points. Because normally it's like 70 shots for 20.
The funny thing, like Jay Crowder had 16 and 7 today. He was actually minus 10, and I know you got to take that with a grain of salt
Plus and minus
because
is garbage.
well,
who you're
there's
playing
the
with.
4 other guys you're playing with,
Even
right?
plus and minus in hockey, I'm like,
Right, because if you like go back to like the Bruins 5
Are
years ago,
you on the power play? Are you on the penalty kill?
Right.
Like, what are you doing? Like, who else is
There's
on with you?
there's a lot of variables
Right.
there. Isaiah was actually he had 24. I mean, he was 10 of 22. I was really annoyed earlier in the year. I wanted Isaiah Thomas off this freaking team. I was telling you this.
I know.
But
I mean,
you know why he takes so many shots, Celtics fans? He has to, because no one else on this team can freaking shoot.
Well, you know who's my least favorite player on the team.
Yeah, Solinger.
Yeah, how's he looking?
He had a bad game today. He was
I
pretty.
mean, Zella's okay. David Lee.
Evan Turner's actually been arguably the best player for most of the season.
Evan Turner's a really well-rounded player.
Yeah.
He's kind of okay to pretty good at everything.
Marcus Smart right now. I mean, he had like a bruised thigh and missed like 2 months or whatever was wrong with him. But he plays his ass off. Every time I watch him, he's in passing lanes. He's taking charges. I mean, he plays hard. That's not the issue. You gotta wonder at this point if the talent is there for the pro game.
I already told you. I don't think none of these guys are gonna be stars. None of them. They have zero. They have
Who's the best player?
no number 1, no number 2, no number 3.
Right. Who's the best player on the team right now? Probably either Isaiah or Jay Crowder, right? Isaiah by default almost.
Avery Bradley certain nights. Kelly Olynyk certain nights. Who knows? I don't think they have a best player. Is that possible for a team to not have a best player?
They're all just equally
They're all
mediocre.
equally mediocre. They're all equally good role players. Like, I sit there and I look at the roster and I go, wow, that's a long list of role players that are all equally meh.
By the way, I gotta go on a cosmetic rant here for a second. They wore those like gray,
Who cares what uniforms they
those
wear?
are freaking horrendous.
That's just so they can
You
make
we-
more money. I'll wear one of those. I'll buy one
You
of those gray
wear-
ones for the
you-
next podcast.
You wear one of those, you almost deserve to freaking lose. It's like the Patriots. They need to go back to the friggin' red Pat Patriot with the white helmet. They need to go back to
I love Pat the Patriot, but the problem is, and the reason
They
they
need to-
can't wear...
because
the
they've
throwbacks.
winning with.
No. You can't wear your throwbacks is you can only have one helmet for each player. You'd have to paint it one week and then
Right.
paint it back the next.
Another thing Roger Goodell ruined.
Let's gonna do throwbacks for a couple weeks and then have a bye or something. That'd be cool. I can see them doing that.
Or they could just go back to they won't until Brady retires, at least. But
Oh, dude, I feel like Brady always plays beast in Pat the Patriot.
yeah, well, it's
Was that a Titans game where it was 59-0? Wasn't that with
in
Pat the
09,
Patriot?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe Detroit and Thanksgiving, the 2010 was a Patriot too.
I think that's the game they were down like 24-0. We're like, this team's going nowhere, and then they scored like 50 on the answer. Like, oh, they're winning the Super Bowl. Worst 14-2 team ever, by the way.
Up there, definitely
Pretty
up
bad.
there.
Yeah, but the
Plus,
Boston,
Carolina's probably going to be the first worst 15-1 team ever.
the Boston Celtics.
There's been a lot of 15-1
Yeah, we're
teams.
still talking about uniforms. If it's not broken, don't fix it. White at home, green on the road. Done.
You know, like the blacks.
Oh, I hate them.
You know, like the gray. Nothing.
Hate them. Actually, you know what?
You like traditional green with the green and white, or you like the green and black?
I hate it. I hate it. I think they're so stupid looking. And I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I actually didn't mind the St. Patty's Day ones with the gold. I thought they were kind of sharp, actually.
The ones Scotty has a great man cave. You don't like the one that KG has on over there?
On the Wheaties box?
Yeah.
No, friggin' hate it. Sucks.
I love the alternate green.
Those are actually the best. The Russell.
Yeah, the original green. It's the green and whites, and then the whites and green.
No, but even the font on the old ones.
Oh yeah, I could care less about font, but I mean, I'm not a huge uniform person. I mean, the Red Sox have basically the same uniform forever.
I actually hated the ones they wore the last couple of years with like black on the roads. It looked like the Yankees. I'm glad they went back to the red font.
Yeah, they did kind of look weird.
It looks stupid.
When you were in New York,
didn't
it
care
looked like
for
it was two Yankees teams.
Yeah, it sucked. I did not like it whatsoever. I'm glad they went back to the red. Bruins unis are pretty similar to what they've always worn. The logo's a little different, but they're okay. I like them. I don't. The unis the Pats wear now, I actually like them better than the ones they wore in '96. Like the Drew Parcells ones.
Yeah, they're a little different.
No, they're
different.
Yeah, they're way different.
Not way, but they're different.
Yeah, they're different. But I actually like these better. But I don't think there's like any team in the history of football that can touch like the ones they wore like when they got killed by the Bears by like 40 points in the Super Bowl.
Well, I love Pat the Patriot. I think that's the thing. Pat the Patriot's an icon.
So, I got it hanging all over.
Incredible. But realistically, and I don't blame Brad Stevens. I know there's
he's writing his resume for Indiana as we speak.
There's only so much Danny can do, but you got to get, without somehow blowing up your whole course here, you got to get a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3. At least a 1 and a 2.
Cousins had 32-9 tonight. Do you take a chance on him?
I don't know. What are you going to give for Cousins? And he's not enough.
Oh, it depends.
And the thing is, I don't know if any of your picks are going to be valuable or worth. First of all, if you give all your picks to get somebody, you don't have the picks.
Well, you could dangle.
Second of all, you have a million picks, but unless those picks are great picks,
you could dangle this year's Brooklyn pick because that's probably.
I mean, look at Marcus Smart. I mean, remember we had the draft night here? I was like, why the hell did we draft a point guard? That was like the only position we were actually okay at. You know what I mean? Like,
I remember.
I felt like we were Minnesota. And what year was that where they drafted 3 point guards in the first round?
No, we wanted to take.
What's wrong with them?
We wanted to take, who did we want? Noah Vonleh? Or something?
Not only that, they drafted 3 point guards that year.
You talking about Minnesota?
I think they drafted.
Was it Steph?
Rubio?
No, yeah, I remember.
They didn't draft Steph Curry, but they drafted Rubio, Ty Lawson, and I want to say it was
another guy. Yeah, I remember. I know what you're talking about.
Is it Raymond Felton? Was he in the same draft? Whatever it was, they drafted 3 guys. All of them sucked. They got rid of.
Rubio's okay.
Yeah.
Ty Lawson's actually super talented. He's just a drunk who gets a DUI once a week.
Just keep him in a room till it's time to play. I mean, how hot is that, guys?
I would just like get him a 30 rack and just like say like you can't leave your hotel room. Problem solved.
Let's go to baseball for a moment.
You want to go to baseball?
Yeah.
It's January, but yeah, we can
Let's
go to baseball.
talk about your piece you wrote the other day in the Hall of Fame voting.
Oh, the Hall of Fame, yeah. Okay. We'll go into this really quickly, and then we'll end with Peyton and the allegations of the HGH. That was on purpose, by the way.
I got it.
So, as you know, or as you may not know, you can vote up to 10 players on any given Hall of Fame ballot. And I was tempted to add more, but I didn't because I voted for guys that I believed were only Hall of Famers right now. So I'm going to go through my list. Chris read it. I don't even know what his reaction was. I'm going to hear your reaction.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so here's my list. And you can say I agree, disagree, and we'll get into it a little bit. Barry Bonds, best player I've ever seen. Should have been done a while ago. 2, Clemens. Same deal. I don't care if he cheated. There's no proof he cheated. Probably did cheat, but I don't give a shit. Junior, that's the easiest. That's the easiest one.
I just want it noted, although I don't believe he took steroids, we can't cast aspersions on these other players, be it that they have a lot more evidence or perceived evidence against them, but then expect that Junior was just clean, because we don't know that for a fact.
You know what though?
I don't know that Jeter was clean. I'm not going to get into this. This is.
Do you know what my biggest problem is with that though? One of the biggest, I don't know how to say it, byproducts of taking steroids is quicker recovery, and he was injured a lot. And I know that steroids
you get
typically
injured a lot when you're steroided.
Yeah.
HGH is quicker recovery. It's a difference.
How do you know he wasn't?
I don't know anything.
Well, actually, you don't know he wasn't because he was hurt all the
I
time.
don't know anything.
By the way, I voted for 6 guys. I named 3 of them so far. Schilling, I know that's controversial, but go to Baseball Reference and look at his numbers.
Schilling is
They're
a beast in the playoffs. That's all that matters.
11-2. He allowed in his 19 postseason starts, and it's in the article. If you go
If
to
this
Games
was
of
football, he'd have 3 Super Bowl
he's
MVPs.
he's the Kurt Warner.
He'd have 20 wins. In the playoffs.
He's the Kurt Warner.
If it was hockey, he'd have a
baseball
couple Conn Smythes. I mean, just the way that he is a postseason player. This is basketball. He'd be the guy that makes the finals every year and has like 4 titles and like three MVPs.
He made 19 postseason starts. His teams were 14-5. And in 14 of those 19 starts, he allowed one earned run or fewer in 14 starts.
Wait,
okay,
listen to
that's
that
like
stat again.
that's the. Do you want me to repeat it?
Listen to that stat again.
Okay,
Listen to that stat.
He started 19 games in the postseason. Okay, his team's record was 14-5, which is excellent. 14 of those starts, he allowed one earned run or fewer. Okay,
That means more than 75% of the time you send him out in a postseason start,
and you're winning the
he's
game.
going to let up 1 run or 0 runs.
He's the anti-David Price.
He's the anti-Price, not the anti-Christ.
That's pretty good, actually. I should have put that in there. I should have talked to you beforehand. Piazza, awful defensive catcher. I'm pretty sure Chris O'Keefe's mom is a better defensive catcher than him,
Pretty sure my grandma's a better defensive catcher. She throws better.
and she's dead, right?
Yeah.
And she's probably still a better
Yeah,
defensive
she's got
catcher.
a crazy arm.
All right, but the offensive numbers are there. Got to put him in. And Trevor Hoffman, other than Mo Rivera,
Best closer ever other than Mo, probably. He's
yeah.
up there anyways.
Oh, Eckersley. I mean,
Acker's weird to judge because he's the
he won a Cy Young and an
starter
MVP though.
and- Yeah, no, I know. Also, it's so new, the closer role back then.
Also, the other thing, I read an article today that someone didn't have Trevor Hoffman in the Hall of Fame, but had Billy Wagner in the Hall of Fame.
That perplexes me.
And their rationale was, Trevor Hoffman was bad in the playoffs. Well, Billy Wagner never won anything either. It's not like he won 8 World Series titles or something like that.
Well, the problem, baseball, it's so weird. It's so weird the way that they do and don't vote plays in.
Really quick, because my computer's dying. I did best of the rest, and I named 4 guys. Jeff Kent hit 290 for his career, won an MVP, 9 straight seasons of 90-plus RBIs. I really wanted to vote him in. It was close.
I don't know.
Mike Mussina. I named 4
I
guys.
don't know if any of those guys. The guy that he put in.
It's gonna die. Let me name him real quick. So I picked 4 guys, best of the rest. I had Jeff Kent. I had Mike Mussina. I had Larry Walker, who I love Larry Walker, and I really wanted to vote for him. I just didn't think he was as good as the other guys I named. And Jeff Bagwell, who I've never been on the Bagwell bandwagon, but is what it is.
Bagwell's, again, similar to Jeter to me. He's a very good player. He's not great. He didn't even have as good a career as Jeter, obviously, but he's just a very good player.
Well,
for a longer period.
He doesn't have. He has about 50. I think he cleared 2,000 hits. I think he hit 297 for his career. Jeter was like a 311 career hitter, so that's better. He has over 3,000 hits, so that's better. He won 5 championships to Bagwell 0. Sorry, but that matters. That's better.
It doesn't matter as much in baseball.
Not as much, but it matters. Yogi Berra won 10 championships. Okay? He won 3 MVPs.
That's not why he's Yogi Berra, though. How many of those Yankees won 10 championships?
Well, Mickey Mantle only won 7.
Right, okay, but what I'm saying is you should give any guy that has 7 to 10 championships on the Yankees in the Hall of Fame. I mean, is every Yankee going to be in the Hall of Fame because they won a lot?
No, and again, baseball probably matters least in any other sport. I mean, Ty Cobb never won a World Series. Ted Williams never won a World Series. Ernie Banks never won a World Series. I mean, there are a lot.
Barry Bonds never won a World Series.
Best player I've ever seen. Never won. Griffey never won a World Series.
Great. You can't be in almost any other sport. You can't be an all-time great without winning a title. Otherwise, you're the best of the guys that didn't win titles. In baseball, it's just like you can be one of the best players, if not the best player ever, and not have a title because it's not how the way that the game works. It's an individual game.
Think about it this way, though.
Barry Bonds could have hit a home run. They could have never walked the guy. He could have hit a home run every time up, and his team could have still lost 3 to friggin' whatever every time.
Well, because there's 9 batters in a
Yeah,
game.
has
I know.
No influence over the actual game. Very little.
See, do you think say say the Red Sox had won that 46 series. Say Enos Slaughter never scored from first, and the Red Sox won that 7th game against the Cardinals. If he had a championship, would you vote? Would you view him any differently? Like,
No. No.
if he had a ring on top of
No.
everything else he accomplished, it wouldn't vault him up a little bit for you?
No.
Not even a little bit
He's already on the Mount Rushmore
of baseball players?
of, well, possibly of baseball players, but the Mount Rushmore of Boston sports guys.
Ooh, that's,
He is. He's up there. I'm sorry.
Ooh,
He's on the Mount Rushmore. I mean,
Let's
if
talk- let's-
we're gonna presume that you have to do one from each team, okay?
well, no, like your 3 slam dunks. You have Bobby Orr, Bill Russell, and Tom Brady. Those are 3. You're never getting them off.
Okay. Well,
You can alternate-
Ted Williams is arguably the best baseball player
You
that
could
ever lived,
you-
and the greatest hitter that ever lived.
Hitter, I'll agree with. Baseball player, no.
Why? Because he went to war. My apologies if he was defending the country.
No, because Babe Ruth was better offensively, and he won 100 games as the best left-handed pitcher.
Right,
in
I
the
personally think Babe Ruth is the greatest baseball player that ever lived. However, that doesn't mean that there's not arguments for Ted Williams, because there are.
I don't think.
What people always forget is that
I think.
how many?
I
Joe
think-
DiMaggio, how many hits did he get in a row?
I think
how
he.
many games?
I think he has no comparison as
games?
a hitter. I'm saying just
No, that's absurd. How many games? How many games did
56.
Okay, and that same year, how many times did Ted Williams reach base in a row? How many games?
God only knows. I have no idea.
I think it was 84.
Something like
that's
that.
an all-time record that's probably never going to be touched. No one even mentions it. And they actually said it's probably statistically harder to do than the hits. As odd as that sounds.
One thing about DiMaggio, though, he had 56 straight games, went hitless in Cleveland, and then he hit like another 20-something games.
Yeah, but Ted Williams was on base always. The dude was just a base. They didn't they just left him at first. You know, he wasn't good defensively. So
I think-
stay at first, Ted. You're good.
I think Williams was the superior hitter of the two. I think
Williams is a superior player.
I think DiMaggio is a better all-around player.
No, it's just because he's Italian and they gave him MVP doesn't make him fucking a better player. It's not how that works.
No, you got to keep in mind too. I mean, I think
How do you win the Triple Crown and not win the MVP? Especially back then when they didn't have advanced stats.
that's different. That's completely different. I think that's
How do you
ridiculous.
beast the league, win the Triple Crown and not win the MVP?
No one liked him. The
Right.
writers hated him.
Okay.
Williams could conceivably have like 6 MVPs, but that's
Conceivably, yeah, and I know conceivably Babe Ruth has infinite MVPs because
you know what though? It's a generational thing, and what I mean by that, you've known me almost 5 years now. Who have I always told you is the greatest baseball player I've ever seen?
ever seen
Ever seen?
Barry Bonds, and I agree with that.
No one. You
And
agree
the
with me?
closest players
No, the closest
that
player
I've
to him
seen,
is
Griffey
and A-Rod.
A-Rod. Yeah,
Okay,
those are the closest.
Griffey.
And after that, I'd say this considerable jump. I'd say probably Pujols next.
I think Manny was better than Pujols.
No, I don't think so.
If you're talking clutch, it's Ortiz and everyone else. If you want to talk about just clutch,
Well, I mean, Ortiz is a very, very good player. That goes back to we were talking about Jim Thome. Tome's like Bagwell and that's why I'm not saying Bagwell's gonna get in because he doesn't have the career numbers, but
I don't think he's in.
Tome's like the power hitting version, the home run hitter version of Jeter. He's a very good player for an absurdly long time.
See, I like Jeter a lot better than you, but
But he's not that good. Like he's very good. He's just not like great. Like he gets held in such reverence when he's not like. He gets treated like the Tom Brady of shortstops. When he's like, not gonna say the Eli Manning. That's
Cordell
just rude.
Stewart.
No, he's not the Cordell Stewart. Trying to think of an apt comparison, but he's like the Jim Kelly.
I still think Jim Buck.
I know you love Jim Kelly.
I still think Jim
Okay,
Buck
he's like
should have
the
been
Troy Aikman,
he should-
okay?
He should have been top.
Just because he has
20.
a couple rings and he was very good, people make him out to be like this insane.
I still think Jim Kelly was a better quarterback than Troy Aikman.
Just like Troy Aikman was never the best player on his team, I don't think Jeter was ever the best player on his team. Maybe once or twice if he was lucky. Okay?
He wasn't a better player than A-Rod. I agree with you.
was a better player
Agree
than
with you.
in all the early years when he was
Maybe
winning
you
championships.
could make an argument for Bernie Williams.
Bernie Williams.
Yeah.
And there was probably
Tino Martinez.
Martinez, both Martinez's.
Paul. I didn't like him, but Paul O'Neill was a good
Mullet,
player. Posada. I mean, but those Yankees teams were loaded.
Well, that's my
But-
point, though. And we're not even including the pitching that they always ended up having. And Rivera, we're just going to exclude him completely because he's just the GOAT friggin'. He's like if you took Michael Jordan and Bill Russell and added in Tom Brady and made him a closer, it's Mariano Rivera. You know what I mean?
And Mariano's still better.
Yeah.
No, Mariano was, God.
That's my point. Is that Jeter, and I forget people were going over the numbers of all-time Yankees and all-time other players. His numbers are just not that good. Jeter's numbers, especially in a game where it's really a single.
He's not
Like it's a single
no,
player's
no, no.
game.
I can't even talk. Your Mount Rushmore of Yankees. You got Ruth, you got Gehrig, you got DiMaggio, you got Mickey Mantle. That's your Mount Rushmore.
And Jeter's not even close.
Well, you got to put Yogi in front of him.
I don't know if Jeter's top 10.
You might have to put Reggie in front of him.
You got it.
Whitey Ford. Hell, Bill Dickey.
I think Mariano Rivera goes ahead of him.
Yes.
That's
But,
my
but, he,
point
but
is-
he's top
and
10.
I'm not picking on Jeter.
He's top 10.
Okay, so he's 9 or 10. I'm not picking on Jeter. I'm trying to make.
Well,
a
that's
case
like
that
saying like
Jeter's held like he's the greatest baseball
Well, no,
player that
that's-
ever lived.
you know
Like,
what that's
the
like?
guy walks on water because he sends out.
Do you know what
friggin-
that's like? That's like you're making a Mount Rushmore of Celtic greats and having Paul Pierce 9th or 10th. It's the same thing. Paul Pierce isn't the Mount Rushmore, but he was still a great player.
Yeah, but no one parades Paul Pierce around like he was the greatest basketball player that ever lived. Like we would have to have like a Paul Pierce tour when he leaves, and like give him like a fruit basket when we have sex with him, and like you know what I mean, like do all types of stuff and be like, oh look how Paul Pierce is the greatest player that ever lived.
For the record,
I mean, yes, that's actually a great example. If Paul Pierce had 2 more championships with Ray Allen and KG, okay,
should have.
and Paul Pierce was, we'll even say, not the greatest player on the team. Like Ray Allen or KG were always better than him. We'll just say, and if the Celtics had 3-peated, 3 out of 4, whatever you want to call it. Now suddenly we prance Paul Pierce around like he's the greatest player that ever lived, when he's not even close to the greatest Celtic that ever lived. That's what people do with Jeter. And we go, oh, but we know Paul Pierce is clean, unlike that LeBron guy who's pretty big. Like LeBron is pretty big. He must be cheating.
For the record, your Mount Rushmore for Celtics, in my opinion at least, you got Russell, you got Bird, you got Hondo, and you have Kuz. That's your Mount Rushmore probably.
I don't know if I can disagree with that.
Well, you can't disagree with the top 3. You just can't.
No, you can't.
It's Russell, Bird,
It's Russell, Bird, Hondo in that order.
or Russell, Hondo, Bird. However,
No, I don't think you can. I think realistically, I mean, some people will say Bird's ahead of Russell, but no, 99% of people are going to say.
Dude, you know,
95% of people are going to go Russell,
You know how much
Bird, Hondo.
You know how much I love Larry.
Yeah.
I love Larry.
There's people that say
He
Larry
wasn't.
Bird's the
He
greatest player that ever
wasn't.
lived.
He wasn't as good as Bill Russell.
Okay.
He wasn't.
And Hondo wasn't as good as Bird. It's that simple.
Mm.
It's that simple. No. The gap between Hondo and Bird is very similar to the gap between Bird and Russell, if not larger.
You still have people like my father and my uncle who say Russell's the greatest player of all time. And,
No,
and
no,
again,
right.
that's a generational
But
thing.
what I'm saying is, like, if Russell's here and Bird's here, Hondo's here.
See, I think it's more like, and you guys can't see this, it's like Russell here, Bird here, and like Hondo's like right there.
No, Hondo is not that.
Hondo
close
is
to
8-0
Bird.
in the finals. I know he never won an MVP. He leads the Celtics in pretty much every statistical category.
Okay, so he played longer because Larry jumped around on the ground a lot. What do you want from me?
It's a it's a generational thing.
It's not even about me being like Larry Bird's my binky. It's about me sitting here telling you, like,
I love Larry.
At their impact.
This is
at
like
their
this is like me.
As great as Hondo even was as a defensive player, Larry Bird was just like, if Larry Bird and Hondo had to cover each other, somehow Larry would have covered Hondo, and Hondo would have been sitting there, and Larry would have been like, I'm gonna shoot right here in your face, and it's gonna swish. Whoops, didn't mean to leave 0.2 seconds on the clock, because it's Larry Bird, dude. All right. Other than Michael Jordan, there's not a better cold-blooded killer that the league has ever seen.
You could argue that 84 to 87, Bird was the GOAT, like ever, of anyone. You could.
Yeah,
you could.
that 3 to 4 year stretch he has, he's way better than anything Hondo. And I'm not even trying to downplay Hondo.
There's only you can only make the case for 3, maybe 4 players better than Bird's peak. Wilt, obviously, his peak was.
Yeah, but it's just a numbers thing.
Wilt's peak was probably better than anyone's.
No, I don't know.
Russell's and MJ's, and maybe Kareem's.
No.
Maybe Kareem's.
I'm going to say LeBron has a great peak. It depends what you're using as peak to. You using 1 year, 3 year, 5 year.
At least 3 years, a minimum of 3 years.
Okay. Because if you use 1 year peak, KG's peak is incredible.
Okay, but you
KG's 3 year peak is good, but not as good as Bird.
But you got to have
Shaq's 3 year peak is incredible.
You got to have Russell and Chamberlain in there because they're along with Bird, they're the only 3 guys to win 3 MVPs in a row.
But Shaq's 3 at peak is incredible. Even though only has one MVP.
I don't think it was as good as Chamberlain's, but it
Well,
was
that's
a
because he
great
took
peak.
like 20 games
But it was
off
a great
every
peak.
season during the
But
regular
it was a
season.
great peak.
Look at his postseasons.
Because I might
Moses
take
has a great 3 at peak.
I might take Hakeem career-wise over Shaquille, but peak I might take Shaquille. It's like one of those things.
Yeah.
Peak I might take Shaq, honestly.
I take Shaq career-wise, and I'll tell you why. Hakeem is romanticized for. He had 2 great seasons. And the rest of his career, he was a top 10 to top 15 player in the league, and that's it. That's it. He wasn't a guy that was. He wasn't Barkley. He wasn't Malone. He wasn't Shaq. He wasn't one of those guys that's a top 5 player every year.
I think in the early '90s, Charles was the best player in the league, not named Jordan. I've said that many times.
Other than those 2 years that Hakeem won titles, and he had one transcendent year.
You would say Barkley was a better.
Barkley is a better player. Malone's a better player. That's my point. Is Hakeem was a top 10 to 15 player. That's it.
Who was better, Barkley?
Hakeem was like
at their peak.
Hakeem was like Paul Pierce if Paul Pierce had 2 transcendent years.
At their peak, who was better, Barkley and Malone?
At their peak,
I'd take Barkley all day.
Really close.
I take Barkley.
No, it's really close.
I take Barkley. Some of that is biased because I absolutely
He was my favorite.
He was my favorite.
Barkley,
He was
best player ever.
He was my favorite player.
Scotty has a very weird obsession with like great players that never won a title. See,
Stop it.
Barkley Charles,
Elgin Baylor.
Elgin Baylor, and Marino Dan.
I love Dan Marino.
Yeah, that's my
I
point.
still love Dan Marino, but Brady's better.
Brady's way better.
I think Peyton's probably better at this point too. Getting back to we got way off track there for a second. I want to get back to the whole generational thing. You and I were in agreement. Barry Bonds is the best player we've seen, right?
Yes.
My dad's
my
dad's roughly 30 years older than both of us.
Yes.
He said Mays was the GOAT. He said, well, and a lot of people, by the way, just so we're not picking on my dad, they all say Willie Mays was a GOAT.
Yeah, I don't think they all do. But...
My uncle Leo, who's actually my grandfather's younger brother, he's 91 now. He's still with us, thank God. He will tell you nobody was better than DiMaggio. He will say Williams was a better hitter, but all around, nobody was better than Joe D. My grandfather, who actually, he's been gone about 12, 13 years, but he would have been 95 next week, actually. So he was born in 21, so he grew up in like the 30s. He said nobody was better than Gehrig. Nobody. So it really is like a generational thing.
It's a generational thing. It's also a thing where people pick like their type of music. Like even if it's generational, like you'll always love the 90s. If you're like a 90s rock guy, you're like, 90s rock is the best. Then you just say that forever. So if you're a power hitter guy or like a specific style of play or whatever, and then people tend to just hang on to something forever. That's why there are people that will always say Montana's the best quarterback ever. I mean, I don't know how you really argue that nowadays.
I think he and Brady are still close, even after the 4th title.
It's close.
Let's put it this way: if someone said to me, like, if someone said to me, like, and this is not a knock on Steve Young, I love Steve Young. If someone says Steve Young's the greatest quarterback of all time, like over Brady, I'd say you're an idiot. But if someone says Montana's the greatest quarterback of all time, I might not agree, but I'm not going to call them an idiot. You see what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of that is the eye test. Because Brady and Montana are closer than
Young
you think.
Young was insane, dude.
I would take Young over 5. In a heartbeat.
But if you're getting that close, like it's anybody that's a top 10 quarterback, you almost have to allow someone to have an opinion that they're the best.
Let's run through a top 10. Let's try to construct.
I know people that think Aaron Rodgers is top 10 already. I mean, top quarterback already.
I don't know if he is yet.
He's going to be the GOAT quarterback of all time.
Let's run through our top 10 really quickly, and then we'll move on to Peyton, and then we'll call it a wrap for the night. You got Brady. You got Montana. You have Peyton.
Are we doing just people we've seen?
No, ever. So
Otto Graham.
No, hold on. You got Brady. You got This is no particular order. To be fair, we got Brady. We got Montana. We have Peyton, Otto Graham.
We got
Unitas. Marino.
You're probably gonna need
Elway.
Sammy Baugh.
Sammy Baugh, maybe.
Dude, he's on the 75th anniversary team, I believe.
I didn't like him, but you gotta put Brett Favre top 10. He is top 10.
You did Elway already?
Yeah, I did Elway.
Did Marino?
Steve Young might round up the top 10.
No,
Really? See, I think he does.
I put Bart Starr in there. Do we put Bart Starr in
Oh,
there?
okay. Yeah, I forgot about him. Okay.
I don't think...
I
don't think
shouldn't
Steve
have.
Young...
I'll take Bart Starr. Okay.
I'm trying to think if we missed anybody.
Well, regardless, we put together like the essentials, basically.
Okay, but anybody in that list, if you want to say, like, they're the GOAT quarterback, it's arguable.
I'll say this: before Brady came along, I always said Montana was probably the greatest quarterback ever. Let's put it this way: if I was going to make a Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks, even though he never won a championship, I might still have Marino in there. Like my Mount Rushmore at this point might be Brady, Montana. Those are always going to be. Those guys those are locked in. Those two are never going to leave. Then maybe like Peyton / Unitas and Marino. Like, I mean, you could put a lot of guys in there,
I
but
don't think I'd put Marino in there.
if he had a ring, would he be in there?
One ring, one MVP is... Listen, what he did through the air was incredible. Okay? His release was incredible. Biggest issue with Marino is...
The
He got
postseason.
worse.
Yeah.
His peak of his career was in the beginning. First couple years in the league, first 3 or 4 years in the league, he's just an absolute monster, and then he's just not as good.
He hung on a year too long.
I don't even mean
that's
the year
obvious.
too long. I mean, like, not that he wasn't a very good quarterback or an elite quarterback, but his peak was literally his first couple years in the league.
That's fair.
How does that happen?
That's fair.
How does that happen? His peak is like his first 3 years in the league is his peak, and then he's just not the same player. Not that he was bad, but
No,
you
he
don't
was
go.
he
from,
was still regularly around 30 touchdowns, like 4,000 yards.
Yeah, but
but
how do you go from being like 40 touchdowns a year?
Well, 48 and 84 is like throwing
then-
like 90 today.
and then he was like 40 the next year, wasn't he?
44 and 86 or 85. They lost the AFC title game to the Pats in the Orange Bowl.
It's absurd.
Really quick, and then we'll wrap it up because we're working on an hour and a half. Thoughts on the Peyton HGH thing?
I think he did it. Probably.
You think he did it?
More. I think it's more probable than
You're-
probable than not
You're really going
that
Ted
he
Wells
did
on
it.
this?
Yes. I think it's more likely that he did HGH than Brady friggin' had a scheme, nefarious plot to deflate footballs. That doesn't mean I care. That doesn't mean I think it's a big deal.
I couldn't care less.
I care more than I think I would about footballs. The thing I care about the most is the treatment of Peyton. I don't want him to be slung through the mud and dragged about and burn his body.
But you're saying be an even playing
be
field.
even as what you did for Brady. I mean, if this is Tom Brady and this comes out and it was Giselle's HGH, even if it is Giselle's HGH, what the is this not on CNN? I mean, is this not a presidential debate? I mean, where do you?
It explodes, yeah.
Is this not literally a debate point? Like, where are you, Hillary Clinton, on the Tom Brady HGH thing? Donald Trump, how do you feel? You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous.
I believe, and this is unpopular probably, I believe Peyton. And the reason that I do, I know it came from Al Jazeera, but then ESPN, perpetuated it and kind of like
I don't care
repeated
about what
it.
ESPN says.
I don't believe a word any of these people say. I really don't.
Well, the only issue I have with this is the following. Okay? Peyton's not denying that his wife had HGH delivered to her. Okay?
No,
He did go to that institute.
he admitted it. He said it was under Colt's, brass supervision.
But he went to that institute.
But he
Peyton Manning has 4 neck
insinuated.
surgeries.
Okay. Yep.
Okay? We already know he did platelet blood doping, which is not
Not
illegal
illegal.
in Germany.
Not illegal.
It should be illegal for
But it's not.
Kobe does it too, right?
It's not.
Listen, that goes back to when is cheating, and what are you doing is like, okay, HGH is cheating, but blood plate spinning isn't. That's ridiculous. The whole point is, it doesn't pass the sniff test for me to sit here and say that I think he didn't.
It's suspicious. It definitely is suspicious.
If your pants are sagging and it smells like shit, and I ask you, hey Scotty, did you take a shit?
Yep.
And then you say, no, I didn't take a shit. And then you start to walk, and shit falls down the back of your pants and lands on the floor. And I say, Scotty, that you just shit yourself. And you say, but I didn't. It was my wife's shit. I can't take that serious because all the
That's a
all
good
the
analogy.
points, all the points here point that Peyton might have did it. Now I'm not saying he did. I don't even really care that he did. If he did, I mean, the stuff that guy had to go through, his neck. I mean, let's be honest. He never had the strongest arm, anyways. He hasn't had an arm to throw for 3 or 4 years now.
He had a good arm. That
It was
at
a
his
good
peak.
arm, but it
That's
wasn't
good.
a great
Yep.
arm.
He never had like
A laser.
he never had a Brett Favre,
Yeah, he never had a cannon.
Dan
He just
Marino
didn't.
arm. He never did.
So, but which makes some of what he did even more impressive. We've been over that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, dude, I would have to think that if there's a lot more smoke here, and where there's smoke there's fire, than the Brady thing. A lot more.
Well, we don't have text messages. No,
We don't have text messages.
We just have
where someone
packages
says,
going to his house.
You're the HGHer? Like, dude, someone said it on a recorded thing. Now, I know the guy is taking back what he said, blah, blah, blah. He's only taking back what he said because
Goodell probably
he
put
doesn't
the
want to
heat
get in
on him.
trouble. Like Peyton said, I might sue. No, you don't might sue. You sue or you don't. Like, he's not going to sue. Peyton's not going to sue. Because if Peyton sues, everything's going to get dragged through the mud. And if it's his wife's, I feel bad for her too. But I don't care in the first place.
I
I
really
just want
don't,
them to be treated the same.
I don't care because, and I'm like a big guy for technically. Technically, HGH was not illegal in 2011, and he wasn't playing. So, Peyton, if you're listening, I believe your brother. I really do. I don't, and even if he did it, I don't give a shit. You're still a top 5 quarterback ever.
Oh, that
But-
doesn't knock where he is as a quarterback of all time.
But you know what though? Like, it surprises me. Like, it's 2000 when it broke. It was 2015. Why do you wait 4 years?
Well, no. It's not like someone broke it. Some guy went undercover just to find out about cheating in the game and like
I'm
drug
just-
use. And when I if that would be like if I went somewhere and you didn't know you were being recorded and you said something you weren't supposed to say, and now that it's recorded, it's out and about.
Yeah, but a little coincidental that it's happening now.
No, it's
Okay.
not coincidental at all. Because
Why
no
did
one knew that Peyton Manning was going to be outed in this.
why did the Balco thing happen as Bonds was about to break Henry Aaron's record? It's the same. It's just too coincidental for me.
No, because no one knew that. Dude, the Balco thing's completely different. No one was going in to get Peyton Manning here. Okay, this guy.
How do you know that? They already dragged Brady through the mud. Why not drag Manning through the mud?
Well, I don't think they want. I think that's the last thing they
Elway
want to do.
Elway probably like paid them like, yeah, say he did it. Like, I want to start Osweiler.
I don't want Peyton to come back. Say that he did a bunch of drugs. No, dude. No one knew about this except Al Jazeera and
Do you
the
take
one
it,
guy.
Are you taking them seriously, Al Jazeera?
Yeah, because they didn't do anything wrong. Dude, if I go undercover somewhere and someone tells me information and I record it, that's now the information we're going to use as evidence.
Also, too, Peyton's getting a little bit singled out here. I mean, Julius Peppers was on that report. Clay Matthews was on that report.
A lot of people.
Who else were?
A lot of baseball players.
Everyone's only talking about Peyton. That's not right.
Because Peyton's the big deal, number one.
I get that,
Number
but
two,
that's
people,
not right.
People are going to look at it way different for a quarterback, even though they shouldn't. Like, no, listen,
Right.
Rodney Harrison did HGH. I don't care. No one cares. Very few people even mention it. But then once in a while, when someone wants to, they go, oh, but he's a cheetah. Okay? Like,
That's fine. Whatever.
look, people treat baseball players way worse that do these things than football players.
Andy Pettit used it strictly and solely to recover from an injury. Is he a cheater?
First of all, I think that's bullshit. He didn't use it. That was the greatest way for him to get out, and he knew that. He said, oh, look, if I did it once to get better, people are going to forgive me. He was smart enough to know that if you admit something and then twist it to make yourself look like, oh, poor little old me, the American people will buy your shit, they'll fucking eat it, they'll swallow it, and they'll give you another chance. That was bullshit. Andy Pettit's a fucking cheater, just as bad as Roger Clemens. The only difference is
Roger never failed the drug
Listen,
test.
I don't care that Roger didn't fail a drug
Bonds
test.
never did either.
They both cheated.
Which is why I voted for
And
them.
I know that they both cheated. Let's be honest here. If you had to fucking stick something in my head and say, take your guess, did they cheat or not?
Yeah, and guess what? Bonds cheated, and he was freaking inhuman.
Right, and I don't care.
Inhuman.
That's fine. He cheated great, grand, and wonderful. I could care less. Honestly, I'd rather just watch home runs. Like, be like, home run! You know what I mean? That's great.
Something like
I
that.
could care less that the PEDs. I could care less about steroids. Just figure out a way that you're going to regulate whatever you're going to regulate and let people do it, especially if that's better for the game and that's what people are going to do regardless. But for Pettit to sit here and say, I took it because of an injury, dude, that's still cheating. Even if you were only dumb enough to just take it during an injury, that's still cheating. Like, that doesn't make it not cheating anymore. Oh, I only took it because I broke my leg. Yeah, and then there's someone else with a broken leg that's letting it heal natural. He's not cheating. That's how that works. Okay? So, that's like being like, oh, I only took the steroids to get big and strong while I lift. Yeah, and the dude that's lifting and not taking the steroids is not cheating. So, you taking HGH for injuries is still cheating. Granted, things the NFL puts players through, give them whatever they want.
If it comes out that Peyton used the HGH, my opinion won't change on him at all. That's just me. I can't speak for everyone else.
I think it sullies him a little bit.
I know the Patriot fans could be like, oh, see, he cheated. Like, I don't care. I really don't.
Well, to be fair, Peyton didn't exactly have a ringing endorsement of Brady. He was kind of wishy-washy.
He was on the
with
fence.
Brady.
He was on the
Yeah,
fence.
you know what? He was like, I don't know, that's something he did, and that's them. You'd have to talk to them.
Whereas
non-committal.
Whereas the funny thing is, Aaron Rodgers was in full support of him.
Right.
And, like, Big Ben was like, he should be on the field open tonight. I hope he is. And
right.
Like,
Other guys came out and supported him. I know other guys trashed Brady.
Yeah, Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman and frickin'
Mark Brunell.
I'm going to cry on TV now. It's so offensive. No one cares about you, dude. Hasselbeck. Tim, not Matt. But, like, certain guys bash Brady.
And a lot of guys,
other guys like Brad Johnson were like, dude, what are you talking about?
A lot of guys were in his corner.
Oh, but my whole point is Brady came out and supported Peyton way more than Peyton ever supported Brady.
Dan Marino came out and said, I don't care. Even if it comes out he did it, I don't care. Still think he's the best ever. Right. Marino said that.
And Joe Montana was kind of wishy-washy too with Brady.
Well,
he played both sides of the fence.
Well, Montana said, you know what, we put silicone on our jerseys.
But then he played both sides of the fence and was like, well, that would kind of be cheating. Yeah, well, dude, what you just admitted to was cheating. Like, your best receiver used to stick him. Like, he probably can't even put something down at the grocery store today because he has stick him on his hands. And I mean, it's like, they're like, sir, excuse me, Jerry Rice can't steal that. I'm sorry, this is stick him.
No, the best thing is, like, Jerry Rice is like, yeah, I use stick 'em. So, but, like, every receiver was using stick 'em. And Chris Carter's like, I didn't. And Randy Moss was like, yeah, I didn't either.
Well, no, the best thing about Jerry Rice is he sits there, he comes out with that, the NFL Network, and then that is, and then, like, the next week he's blasting Brady for being a cheater, saying you can't do things like that, that's cheating in the integrity of the game, and all this bullshit, and people are like, dude, didn't you just say use stick 'em? Oh, everyone did that. Dude, supposedly everyone does this to balls anyway, so what's the issue here?
Oh, my biggest gripe was, like, after they won the Super Bowl, Marshall Faulk was calling him a cheater for 2 weeks, and then he was sucking his balls in the post-game show. That was disgusting. Marshall Faulk, if you're listening to this, why didn't you stop being a little bitch and call him a cheater to his face? Huh?
That's Scotty yelling at Marshall Faulk.
Stop being a little biatch. Like as Snoop Dogg would say. Biatch?
Alright, on that note, I think we're going to call it a wrap.
Call it a wrap. Hopefully we can come back a week from now if we can get this shit on YouTube and bring you some Wild Card Weekend coverage. That's, of course, if little Anthony O'Keefe doesn't show up, which, you know, if that happens.
Then we'll be doing this from a hospital.
That would actually be cool. Live via satellite from like Mora's room. Seriously though, we may or may not be back next week. Congratulations, man. Chris is gonna be a father. Little boy coming on the way. Knock on wood, everything goes well with that. You know.
Thank you.
You always want health. That's first and foremost. So we'll see.
Definitely is.
I still think the Pats will. I still think they'll find a way to pull it out tomorrow. I hope so. But we'll have to wait and see. Even if they get the 2 seed and they're, you know, I still think they're in good shape, assuming they don't have any major injuries tomorrow, because I expect them to beat whoever they have in the divisional round at home. And then Denver's looks shaky. I think they could lose the divisional round at home, depending on who they play. I think the Jets could beat them.
Pats are healthy. They're gonna walk to the Super Bowl.
Even if they're healthy and they walk to the Super Bowl, you heard it here first. I'm not sure they'd beat Arizona outright anyway.
Healthy.
I think Arizona's
if you're
really
healthy,
good. Arizona
your defense is just as good as theirs. and your offense should be better. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you're healthy.
Well, let me. All
You're
right.
getting Edelman. You're talking about Edelman, Amendola, Gronk, LaFell. Okay, I know he's
LaFell's
not that.
dude.
Well, you put him as suddenly the fourth option. It's a little different.
Keyshawn Johnson. I thought it was Martin. Keyshawn Martin.
Keyshawn Martin.
I keep calling him Keyshawn Johnson. Dude,
He hasn't played in quite a while.
Keyshawn right now is better than LaFell is right now. I'm sorry. What happened to this guy?
I don't know.
But you know what? Even I think that Arizona still might be the best team, even if Gronk and Edelman are healthy. And
No, I think if Gronk, Edelman, Amendola, everyone's healthy, your defense is healthy, you get Chung and McCourty back, and you have both. You haven't even had a healthy defense this entire time. So people don't understand. You haven't had a healthy offensive line. Your running game's been beat up with injuries. You had at one point all 4 of your best receivers down.
Right.
On top of that, you had defensive players missing from fucking everywhere. So I don't know what people are expecting, but if your team is completely healthy, you're a dominant force.
let's agree on one thing. Let's end it on agreeing on something. If Arizona and New England meet in the Super Bowl, it's gonna be one hell of a game. One
Yes.
hell of a game. And that's what I expect. By the way, I expect Patriots and Cardinals.
Until next time.
See you later.